this computer. Hello, everyone. Tom Signorello. Another busy day at the office. I've got the great Tom Big Al Schreiter again for another one of our wonderful series of educational videos to be able to help people in network marketing speak the secret code of talking to people subconsciously. So people don't want to hear from me, and so I'm going to ask you to listen faster to Tom Big Al Schreiter. Tom, take it away.
Okay, well, this time let's cover some magic words. And what I like about magic words is they fit right into understanding how we actually talk to people. And if you think you have to ask somebody for 20-minute or 30-minute or 1 hour or set an appointment to do a demonstration and to show them how it works and show them some slides and explain the comp plan, uh, let me put your mind at ease. You don't have to do any of that. Here's what we should do. The first thing we're going to do is realize that people are busy and they got to make a choice. It's us or cat videos. And cat videos are pretty good. So when we talk to people, they're going to say, I can only have one thought at a time. So it's either going to be the thought that you're trying to tell me, or I want to get back to, thinking about whatever I'm thinking about, my work, my job, my family, whatever. So how are they going to determine this? They can't wait for a 1 hour presentation to figure that out. So they're just going to do a quick prejudgment. And their prejudgment is this. What's the outcome going to be? Just tell me the bottom line. What's the bottom line here? What's the outcome? And if I want the outcome, all right, then I'll put the cat videos aside. If I don't want the outcome, goodbye. Or let's talk about something else. So the first thing we have to do is find out if they want the outcome. Now, this means we don't have to mention the name of the company. We don't even have to say what we do or how we do it. We just let them know what the outcome is. So examples of outcome would be uh, an extra paycheck. And Tom, how often do you get paid
Oh
with
man,
your
I get
business?
paid every day.
All right. So that's an outcome, right? And people say, well, I'm getting paid every day. That'd work pretty good because it's the 26th of the month and I'm already out of money. So that would help a lot. They say, all right, so that's one outcome. What's another outcome? Well, another outcome is I'm a real estate salesman and I'm shy and I don't want to talk to people, but I could send these cards and I wouldn't have to talk to people and get rejected. That's an outcome I'd like. Maybe I'll get some referrals. All right, got that. What's another outcome? Well, I'm always having to go get birthday cards and stuff, and I got to take them into Walgreens, and then the kids are in the candy aisle, and it's going to cost me a fortune. And yeah, that seems like it's pretty good. And say, all right, so what they want to know is just the outcome. What's the outcome going to be? Well, I have a part-time thing that, well, maybe in a year I could quit my job. All we want to do is find out, would you like that outcome? If you do like the outcome, like we said last time, then we should talk. That's it. No slides. You don't have to mention the name of the company. You don't have to say anything goes electronically or in the mail or nothing. Just do you want the outcome? Once that's sorted out, everything's easy because they say, I want the outcome. You don't have to sell them. You're not on the opposite side of the table. They're on your side of the table saying, well, you don't seem to know much about this, but you and I can probably figure it out together. Let's get on the website and figure it out. So even if you're incompetent, they'll help you. So once we have the outcome in our mind, this next part will make a lot of sense. And that is you can do your business in less time than you ever thought possible. And if you have a pencil and paper, I'm going to ask you to write down some words. Here's the first four words. The first four magic words are well, W-E-L-L, comma, you know how. Now, when you say, well, you know how, it's one of my favorite phrases. What does that tell people? It says, well, if I already know how, then it must be true because what I know is true. So if you say a fact after, well, you know how, that they believe, they're going to double believe it. And they say, okay, we're in sync. And you'll be doing just like Tom is right now, nodding, yeah, yeah. Not. So you say, well, you know how greeting cards are expensive. Or, well, you know how we always forget about somebody's birthday. Or, well, you know how you like to send somebody a gift, but you don't have time to go shop for it. Or, well, you know, having a little extra paycheck every day would be so much fun. Well, you know, you say, all right, we just give them a fact. And this builds the rapport that we talked about. You know, the first step is they say, if you and I are on the same wavelength, we see the world the same way, we think the same, okay, rapport. So, well, you know how, and then just give them a fact. So if you've written that down, you have 4 words. Here's the next 2 words. Most people. Now, I think we talked a little bit about this last time. When you say most people think, well, am I part of most people? Am I part of less people? Not many people are part of less people. I'm part of most people. I do what most people do. Most people get excited about it. Most people type person. Yeah. So you tell them most people and tell them something they believe. And for example, most people would rather eat at a crowded restaurant than an empty restaurant. Most people hate Monday mornings. No, most people would love to have a 3-day weekend instead of a 2-day weekend. Most people don't have time to do all the social stuff of keeping up with birthdays and anniversaries. Most realtors would like to get more referrals. Most people know that we should remind our customers that we're still in business because who knows when they're going to be a customer again. So, all right, so we got most people. So we got, well, you know how. We got most people. That's a total of 6 words. Now, as you notice, this is all rejection free. We're just making conversation. We haven't asked them for a decision. We haven't pinned them into a corner and said, do you want to do it or not? All we did was, well, you know how, and most people. Now, last time we learned a 5-word sequence called Would It Be Okay If? Because we know if we say, would you be interested in that? It's an automatic no. Would it be okay if? It's usually an automatic yes, as long as it's reasonable. So if you have your pencil and paper, write down would it be okay if, and you should have a total of 11 words if my math is correct. You say, all right, I got 11 words. So what would that mean? So let me show you how you can talk to people. And in a minimum amount of time using these magic words, you get their mind to say, I understand the outcome and I can choose if I want it or not, just with these 11 words. So here is an example. You'll probably recognize these 11 words as I say them. Well, you know how our jobs take up so much time. Most people want more time for their families than for themselves. Would it be okay if you could have 3-day weekends every week? There it is. Yes or no? Make your decision. Do you want the outcome or not? And if they say, no, I'd hate, I want shorter weekends. Oh man, I hate being at home with the family and kids, man. I work to escape. And all right, you say, great, let's talk about sports or shopping or the weather.
Go back to the
Or they
cat
say, man,
video.
yeah. Or I said, yeah, 3-day weekends every week. Uh, That would, if you could do that, it's like going to heaven. It'd just be great for me. It just changed my life over. Then we should talk. And now the hardest part is over. They already made a decision. They want what we have to offer. And in your case, you can say, well, gee, yeah, starting a business, doesn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in employees and staff and rental agreements and insurance and all this stuff. It costs you $49 or $99. So rounding error when you take the family out to dinner. So they said, okay, got that. So here's the deal. If you have a stopwatch or smartwatch or something on your phone, let's see how many seconds this took. So I'm going to repeat these again, just like I did before. And you can start and then stop and let's see how long it took. So are you all ready? Let's try it here. Start. Well, you know how our jobs take up so much time? Most people want more time for their families and for themselves. Would it be okay if you could have a 3-day weekend every week?
11.19 seconds. And you took your time.
And if I was from the deep south, it'd be a little bit longer. If I'm from New York, it might be a little bit quicker. And you say, wait a minute, 11.19 seconds. You mean I'm 11.19 seconds away from everything I need to do in my business? The answer is yeah. So let's try it this way. Well, you know how selling seems to be really complicated. Most people just like to have a simple formula. Would it be okay if I showed you 11 words that did it all for you? You could do this for anything. You could say, well, you know how real estate people need more referrals. Well, most real estate people just need a system to get it done. Would it be okay if I showed you a simple system that gets you all the referrals you want? I could, I could hyperventilate and I could do this for the rest of my life. And that's your whole business. If you get that part right, everything else is ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. 11 words. So if you get somebody brand new, they're going to say, wait a minute, oh, I'm afraid to sell. I can't do it. And you're going to say, well, you know how we don't want to sell. Most people would rather just help people solve some problems. Would it be okay if you got paid to help people solve some problems? They're going to go, well, yeah, show me how. I could use this every day for everything I do. I mean, I could say to my grandkids at dinner, well, you know how we're supposed to eat our vegetables every night, but most kids don't want to. Would it be okay if you ate your vegetables so you could have a Wi-Fi password again? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And say, all right, I got it. I could use it on my boss, my coworkers. I could use it on my little league team. I could use it anywhere I want. So what do we learn from this? That our number one thing is we have to get a yes decision. Do they want the outcome? The second thing is don't go any further. We don't have to show them a comp plan or anything until they've agreed for the outcome. If they don't want the outcome, it's just wasted time, waste their time, waste our time. Um, and the third thing we learned is in 11.19 seconds, we can pretty much do our business. Everything else is an explanation. They can watch an online video. I could read slides to them like they're reading impaired, but it's just 11 words. So think, how could I teach this to my team? Because, yeah, sure, I can get a lot of customers or some distributors, but I need some duplication. So do the exact same thing we did here, which is go through the little phrases, show them 11 words, time it, and you can give them some tests. You can say, well, Tom, do you still have brownies?
I do.
All right. So you could say, well, you know how sometimes as husbands we do something really stupid? Yeah.
Oh,
Most husbands would like to have a get out of jail card free. Yeah. So would it be okay if I showed you how to have some brownies delivered tomorrow at your wife's job around 2:30 in the afternoon when you know she's starved? You go, oh
hang
yeah.
on a second. I'm getting my debit card. I'm signing up again. No.
You probably put this on auto shipment for you because you make a lot of mistakes, Tom.
I love doing these things with you. You got me. Oh, every time I talk with you, you got me chuckling. Anyway, I'm sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, but that's all it is to it. You say, I could use this anywhere, anytime. And what we have to do is start practicing with our team. Now, I don't want anybody here to think these are the only magic words ever in the history of humanity. So let me give a few more so you have some variety. So if you're taking notes, you can write down everybody knows. And as soon as you say everybody knows, what's going to happen in the prospect's mind or your team member's mind? Everybody knows. Well, if everybody knows it, that means I know it. If I know it, it must be true. No further proof needed. So you say everybody knows. So instead of saying, well, you know how, you can start off by saying, everybody knows that husbands get in trouble. You say, wow, that's pretty easy. What's another one? How about everybody says? So if you're taking notes, write down everybody says. Now, if you say everybody says, they say, well, am I part of everybody? Am I part of nobody? Nobody is part of nobody. I'm part of everybody. If everybody says that means I say it. If I say it, it must be true because I'm not a liar. And they're just going to accept what you say next is probably true. And you can say everybody says that 3-day weekends are better than two. You don't need a lot of proof. They're going to go, yeah, makes sense. Or everybody says having an extra paycheck every day never gets boring. Oh, yeah. Well, what else could I use for magic words? Let's try this. Here's 4 words. It will get people's attention because it triggers the curiosity thing and they have to know. And the 4 words are, I just found out. So as you say, I just found out, people think, well, what did you find out? Well, is it important what you found out? Will it be important to me what you found out? They just want to know what you just found out. You say, I just found out how we can get a small little extra paycheck 5 days a week. Well, people say, well, hey, that sounds something like that. Well, then we should talk. Say, so if I use these magic word phrases that attack programs in our brains, the programs will make automatic responses. And the answer is yes. I just say, I just found out, give them a benefit. And if people want the benefit, their response is, yeah, yeah, go for it. Wow. I said, oh, what other magic words could I say? Just not that we have to know any of these, but having a variety, you might get bored one day and say, I'd like to try some different ones. So let's try this one. There is an old saying. Now, I don't care where you live. There's some old saying, some old wives' tales. So there's an old saying, never put your tongue on a frozen pipe. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's an old saying, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. There's an old saying that 2 paychecks are better than one. And because whenever you say there's an old saying, people have to believe what you say next is true because it's an old saying. So as soon as you say there's an old saying, whatever you say next could be true. So you say, well, there's an old saying that getting paid 5 times a week is better than once a week. And they go, well, I wasn't very good at math at school, but that seems to kind of sound right. You say, man, so what is there? There's an old saying that people don't remember us, but they remember how we made them feel. There's an old saying when it comes time to list their house that they're going to look for somebody they trust.
Mm.
If you're an insurance agent, there's an old saying that people can never in 45 minutes figure out amortization schedules and, uh, you know, endowments and all that. But there's an old saying that they just want somebody they can trust to do all the decisions for them. Well, yeah, 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 yeah. Say, okay, that wasn't so hard. You say, well, what other type of magic words could I say? Well, a lot of times we talk to people. I don't know if you ever notice this, but we talk to them and nobody's home. We talk, it's empty up there. What are
Oh,
they thinking?
I'm chuckling.
They're thinking, yeah, that cat when it fell off the desk when I was reaching for that thing is just so funny, and I should be showing up for work instead of calling in sick all the time. But I just feel better. Like they have a whole bunch of stuff going on inside their brain. The human brain can only have one thought at a time. So in order to have a new thought, you have to push the old thought out. So how are you going to say some magic words that's going to get them to go, whoa, 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 and take control of their mind to move that thought out? So let's use there's many techniques we can use, but let's use some magic word techniques since that's what we're talking about this time. And I tell people, and I do live workshops, that we can take iron fisted control of another human being's mind anytime we want. Iron fisted control, bring their mind to a complete stop, make them forget whatever they're thinking about and totally focus on what we're going to say next, like a puppy dog waiting for a treat. And we can do that with as little as 9 words. And the people in the workshop always go like, 9 words, it's kind of a tall order, to freeze their mind, make them wait for the very next words. And if you're listening to this for the first time, you might be skeptical too. I mean, but if you had 9 words that could take control of somebody's mind, would you use it? And the answer is probably all the time. Now, I have some good news and some bad news. I have some good news and some bad news. As soon as you say that, you won. They have no choice. Let me show you how powerful that is. Uh, my sister, she has two kids that are unique. One is a blue personality, kind of outgoing, happy-go-lucky, not particularly, super careful, responsible, party, have a good time, musician. And she has another daughter who's disciplined, everything. And of course, because they're so different, they butt heads. So he's 17 years old, and he borrows a family car. And he calls home at midnight, and she answers the phone, his sister. And he says, I got to talk to him. I just wrecked the family car. I rolled it and wrecked the family car. And she says, you're going to get it this time. Let me get mom and dad, put them on the phone. You have to tell them that you wrecked the family car. She just can't wait. He's finally going to get his discipline. So he gets on the phone, and here's what he says. Mom, Dad, I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is I've wrecked the family car. Took a turn too fast. I rolled it over and it destroyed the car. But the good news is I'm alive. Oh, our wonderful son, he's alive. And they're all, and she is so mad. But it just freezes their brain. So you say, good news and bad news. People usually want the good news first or bad news first. It doesn't really matter. You've already taken control of their brain. So let's see how this would work. I have some good news and some bad news. Um, the good news with this business is you can get an extra paycheck once every day. But the bad news is now when the boss asks you to do something, you may not want to take it too serious. You say, oh, yeah, I have some good news and some bad news, right? The bad news is that we mess up a lot and our spouses get pretty upset. But the good news is we're only a couple clicks away on the internet from getting everything fixed, just like that. I have some good news and some bad news. The bad news is starting a business is expensive, with overhead and employees and stuff like that. But the good news is this business costs less than dinner out for the family, and you get all these tax advantages too. I could use this all the time to take control of people's minds. Just 9 words. I have good news and some bad news. And you say, wow, um, is that the only 9-word combination ever in the history of humanity? And of course, yeah, that isn't. There's more, right? So you just have to expand our minds. Now, there's two types of people in the world. There are two types of people in the world. That'd be 9 words. And as soon as you say that, what happens to people's minds? Well, what are the two types? I need to know what kind. I'm curious. Which type am I? It's important. It will be something that I'll need for survival. And it's not that hard. So there's two types of people in the world. Those that start a small part-time business so they get all the tax advantages that the rich do. And those that don't start a part-time business and pay the maximum amount of tax allowed by law. There's two types of people in the world. Those that can afford to go out for lunch every day at work because they get a little extra paycheck every day, and those that are still eating a sandwich in a brown paper bag that is soggy because it's been sitting in the fridge all morning. There's two types of people in the world. Those that can take your children to Disney World and have a vacation of a lifetime, and those that only show their children brochures of what Disney World would look like. There's two types of people. We could do this on and on, but we have the general idea. But the point is, magic words do a lot. And in 11.19 seconds, that's our business. The reading PowerPoint slides or show them a movie or explaining stuff to them, that's after the fact. Our job is this. The company does everything. I mean, they have all the lawyers and they ship out stuff and they print stuff and customers, they can do all that stuff. The only thing they need us for is to get people to make a decision. I want the outcome. Our job is getting a yes to become a distributor or a yes to become a customer. And we can do that in about 11.19 seconds. So how hard is this to teach new people to duplicate? A lot easier than we thought. And in case you didn't pick this up, this is all totally 100% rejection free. And as a full-time coward, I like this because one of the biggest things that holds people back when they get started is, oh, I don't want to take advantage of my friendships. Oh, I don't want to try to sell my friends and neighbors. I don't want to get rejected. Well, that's called fear. Now, I've been in this business 50 some years, and there's only two ways to handle fear. Way number one is for us to chant affirmations, sing the company song, walk across burning coals, uh, break boards with our hands, shout, I'm one with the universe, look in the mirror, I'm better than everybody else. And that's one way of doing it. Now, in 50 some years, I've never been able to make that one work. But I'm not saying it doesn't, I just haven't been able to pull that one off. The second way to handle fear is to completely avoid it. Full-time coward. I got that one mastered. So all I can say is, well, you know how it's fun doing this business when you never have to worry about being rejected? Most people don't want to be made fun of or feel bad. So would it be okay if we just use this 11.19 seconds worth of magic words to do our business so we can just clean up, make a massive fortune? And you say, wait a minute, I think I've seen this pattern somewhere before. And once you get this pattern, you say, well, I don't have to start with, well, you know how I can start with everybody knows. Yeah, you could. Or I could start with everybody says, yeah, you could. And you can have as much fun as you want. But if you're watching this, you're only 11.19 seconds away from enjoying this business, never being rejected again, and being super, super effective. And that, Tom, let me turn it back to you.
Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what, this is our best training to date. We've got a bunch of them. They're on my YouTube and everything. And I got some good news and I got some bad news. The good news is I'm learning all this stuff. The bad news is I didn't know how to do it when I was wrecking the family car when I was a teenager. Um,
Well, yeah, there's a lesson there.
yeah. Well, before we go, people need to know how to be able to subscribe for your newsletter. You send out newsletter tips for free a couple times a week, right?
Yeah, a couple times a week. And so if you get the tips, you'll probably be learning against your will. It's just one of those things that happen.
Mhm.
But if you want to get the newsletter tips, there's a free book called The Happy Networker, Happy Network Marketer. Just download the book and then you'll get the free tips automatic. And you have the link for that where they can go and just download the free book. And I like the free book because it has some icebreakers in there
Mhm.
that's benefit plus promotion that you can use that are again rejection free and gives you a bigger view of how we can do this business. So if you can't remember or don't have the link to download the book, just go to bigalbooks.com and use use your imagination. Somewhere in there, there should be something where you can click and say, I want the free newsletter. There's somewhere on the page. And people ask, why did you choose the URL of bigalbooks.com? I says, well, because we're not very imaginative, we just write the Big L books. So go to bigalbooks.com and you can download and get a bunch of newsletters free.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I'll tell you what, Big Al. Yeah, I'm living proof that what I've learned, especially over the last 12 months, by following your training both on YouTube and through our individual meetings and through things on a line, not Alignable, what is it? Audible. I've got a lot of your books on Audible. Um, I actually had the number one income earner in our company pass me just this past month. He's two recruits ahead of me over the last 12 months. So I slipped from number one down to number two. That's the bad news. And I finished fourth in my company with two new people that joined up, and but that's the bad news. The good news is I'm going to apply what we learned here today, and I'm going past them. So I'm going to tell them right now. They'll see this video and I'm telling them, guess what, guys, I'm coming for you. Anyway, that's our meeting. Let's do this again another time. All right, we'll schedule
Yep.
another time because people are getting tremendous benefit. So that's our meeting for today. If you want to see more of these, just subscribe. Go to tomsignorello.com. That'll bring you right to my YouTube page. Click subscribe, and you're going to see all kinds of great network marketing tips. So that's our meeting for today. Thanks a bunch, Big Al. I owe you a giant favor. Thanks for being here.
Okay. Catch you all later. Have fun.
All right.